Hi everyone, welcome to a new session. So the last session we saw how to create a workspace for the Azure Machine Learning DP100 certification exam, and today we're gonna go for the first steps in order to bring some data inside Azure, because that's basically where we're gonna start. We need to have data on Azure if we want to start training models. That's the first step. So if we just click on the environment for the workspace, then we click on the one that we just created, the last video, and we click on Launch Studio, we're gonna see that it has a lot of things right here. I'm just gonna guide through a bit on the workspace before just adding the data. So this is basically the latest news. Generative AI is blooming. Everything's going forward in AI. The models are appearing every day, new things, new features. We have done some things on the channel, but we're gonna touch on different things today. We're gonna go on something easier, and those easier things are gonna bring us later on future sessions onto something big. So let's start with the basics. If we look on the left, we have different sections, and each of the different section is gonna be used for a 13 topic or 13 task. This is home. Then we have a model catalog. We don't have anything there that we just trained. So basically, this is some models on the ecosystem. Then we have the notebooks. Here we're gonna have all the different notebooks that we use for training. Here we're gonna have the environments for training machine learning on an automated manner. Here we're gonna design the pipelines. Front flow is more for generative AI for the language models. And then on a different section we have assets. These assets are gonna be the different elements, right? So we're gonna have one for data, another for the jobs that we want to train the different models. Then we're gonna have components and pipelines, which is going to be for the step of defining which are the different things that need to happen during the training, during the inference of the model, whatever. Then we're going to have environments, like which kind of place we want to train the models on. We want to run the inference of the model depending on which is the objective of the different environment. We're gonna see it here with a different label, right? So we can filter by only training, once on preview, once for a 13 version of the operating system, and so on and so forth. Then we're gonna have the list of the models that we have trained, right? We don't have anything at the moment. And the endpoints. The endpoint is gonna be used for defining an API endpoint where we are gonna run the model, and we just basically gonna send different REST API requests, and those requests are gonna return us the result for the inference that we desire. Like inference is a thing that I'm mentioning all the time, but basically it means running the model with a 13 piece of data that we're gonna give them, right? So the first step on machine learning is going to be training the model with data. So we don't have data on Azure yet, so that's the first step we need to cover. And later on, we're gonna train the model on 13 points of data. And as we put the model on production, we're gonna start sending different data requests, and it's gonna tell us, okay, my prediction is that this data request is whatever, or that the prediction related with that data is a value of whatever, right? So this is gonna be quite of a summary on the main things that we're gonna start looking at in the first sessions, and basically we're gonna be adding data. So the first place to go is basically on the data section. We're gonna click on create. I haven't mentioned that, but we're gonna load a very basic data set called the IRIS dataset. It's quite old, as you can see, from 1988, and this is a classic. So if you're starting on machine learning, you're gonna see it in many places, in many tutorials, many courses. The main reason for using IRIS is it's very easy to train good models with Iris. We pretty much don't need to think or worry about a lot of things, so it's gonna be fine. And also, it is quite common to find different tutorials. So if you are stuck, you can go to those tutorials and check what you did wrong, what you were doing, if there was a better way of doing things, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna click on download. It's gonna download the file, and I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna give you a modified version of this that has some benefits. I'm gonna show them to you. So if we have a look at this file, okay, you are not gonna find this file on the things that you download, because it's gonna contain a data file and it's not gonna contain the different labels, right? So I just put the labels for you in here, and I'm gonna give you the URL for this and for the code that's gonna be on a GitHub from the Dart ML GitHub repo. And basically you can just run the things on that data, not that code. So this is a CSV file, comma separated file. These are different columns that we have, right? So we have first the length of the petal, the width of the petal, the length of the sepal, the width of the sepal, and finally the type. Our objective is we're gonna give the model all this data. It's gonna be training, it's gonna learn different features, and basically at some point the model is gonna be good enough to classify the different parameters that we give. So we're gonna tell it, hey, these are the petal parameters, these are the sepal parameters, please give me a prediction. And it's gonna say, hey, this is Iris setosa, this is Iris versicolor, this is Iris virginica, and so on and so forth. So basically that's the point of this, right? So depending on the different values for the petal length, width, and so on and so forth, it's gonna give us a prediction, right? So the first thing we need to do is send this file into Azure so that we can use it later on. All right, so how to do it in the simplest manner? As we mentioned, I'm just gonna repeat the steps. Let's launch the studio, go to data, go to create, give it a name, so Iris. This is the Iris dataset. And we're gonna choose from here, we're gonna focus on the Azure ML v2 APIs, because this is an improved way of managing the different values, making the whole thing easier. Basically, we're gonna choose on file, right? We're gonna choose on file. And we're gonna go next. It provides 3 different ways of uploading this data. So from a URI, from the Azure storage, if it is already there, or from a local file. So I'm just gonna choose local file from my machine. We're gonna click on next. We're gonna leave it as it is, right? We're gonna upload to Azure Blob Storage. We could upload it to the Data Lake Storage. Data Lake Storage is better for high loads of data, all right, big data, but this is basically a small file, so it's gonna be fine. And we're gonna choose the Workspace Blob Store, right? Because this is the place. We could potentially add it to the artifact store, but the artifact store is gonna be used for the models, so just leave it there. We go for next, and this is gonna be the upload path that it's gonna take. Just choose the file, and we can overwrite if it already exists, as it is not there. I'm just gonna leave it blank, right? So click on next, and this is basically a review of what we're gonna create. Just double check that everything is fine, and click on create. And voila, we have created our data asset, right? So it is right here. It provides us the details that we just created, who created the thing, the time, the version, all that kind of stuff. We could provide different tags to it. We could update the file with a different version. And this is an example on how we can use this file, right? How we can start playing with it, okay? So this is a way of exploring what kind of data is inside. So if we just click on explore, it's gonna open up the file, and we're gonna be able to see the different data points, right? So if we click on with column headers, as you can see right now, it's not taking the column header, but if we click in here, these values that are at the moment considered part of the data set are going to be considered as a column value, column name, right? So this is much better now. Display is great. This looks so nice. We could also see, well, nothing. So this is looking great at the moment. So basically, we're gonna check there's no jobs on this. This is pretty much everything that we can do on this page, right? So we have uploaded the whole thing. We can check different versions if we update the file and upload the file again. I'm just gonna leave it for you. And we're gonna get started on the next session to play around with this file so we can access the different columns, and we can play around with it on pandas and Python. So I hope you guys liked it. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.